I'm in right out, right up, right down, right happy all the time. Here we go. Just a little fine tuning. Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerers of death's construction. We have flat fingernails. Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone? Hello, Your Highness. Thank you for recognizing my royalty. Your Highness. Wine, wine and joy for all my people. That's how you greet your king. It's another day. It is Tuesday. Tuesday, two for Tuesday. How's Georgia? Doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. I need to go through all my shirts. I have so many shirts that I don't wear anymore. Then it gives me an excuse to buy more shirts. I like when I get compliments on my shirts. Most requested. What I need to do is get a watch. I want to get a clock and then set it for UK time. So I don't have to go to Google and ask UK time. Looks good on you. Well, thank you. This old thing. I happen to have some Tic Tacs. Tic Tacs. Fruity Tic Tacs. Hello. Hello and hi. Can you sing? Some people say I can sing. With the neck patty whack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he came rolling home. Was he in a Ferrari? Or was he in one of those lowriders? This old man was in a lowrider. He came rolling home. Or was it, did he fall and start rolling? Do you go to church? I go to church with my mom. My mom and I go to church. Is 24 old age? No. 24, you need to get busy living. 24 is over pretty fast. I was just mentioning that today. People, old is a long time. We spend a long time being old. It seems like your youth and your teenage years and your college years, just it's like they're little instants in your life. But when you get old is like slow motion. Old. I think that's what it is. I need not focus on old. Don't focus on old. Old. You get away with things when you're old. Oh, he's just old. You can say things. You can do things when you're old. Do you remember your 20? What was I doing when I was 24? I think I was working in a warehouse. I always had an entry level job in my 20s. I always liked it when I just had one W-2 form. I loved it when I just had one W-2 form. I remember having so many jobs. I had to go collect all my W-2s from all my employers. I just love that when I could stay employed for a whole year by one employer. And then later on, I started to get more career oriented. It got me a job where I was like, I would do electric work, electrician work, plumbing work, wall repair, mostly wall repair, replacing garbage disposal. Would you ever go back to change? Yes. I would change the fact that I didn't invest in Bitcoin. I can remember that on the radio. I remember listening to the radio, and Glenn Beck, he was just bashing Bitcoin, how stupid it would do to invest in Bitcoin. It's like, who's laughing now? It's like it's well over $100,000 for one Bitcoin. People are using Bitcoin to buy pizza. Bro, the coolest stuff just happened. Just heard military helicopters go past us. Turns out Trump just landed in London. Oh, wow. You know what? Trump is kind of liked. He's liked in other countries, which is good for PR. It's good for international relations. I think that's what America needs to do. America needs to be friendly again. What's London has to do with Trump? England has been our ally, or at least Britannia. Canada was our ally until recently. I don't know. I wonder how. I want to hear from some Canadians. How you guys doing? How you doing? They got a new prime minister. So it's like, I like to hear right from the people. I don't like to hear from the media. I am from Florida. My nephew lives in Florida. My nephew came by for the wedding. We're thinking about coming out to visit him. He said he could come by and pick us up. That'd be nice. I've been to Florida's pretty nice depending on where you go. I'm pretty sure that's true for anywhere you go. United States. Apparently there are a lot of different countries. The country and state, I guess, is the same thing. But we are all united. The federal government is what governs all of the states. The federal government doesn't let you get away with certain things, and states, they all have their separate laws and taxes. We're so interested in borders. We're so interested in where we're from. Hi, Caden. So I guess we'll hear from people. We'll hear from people I haven't heard from in a while. It's Tuesday. I've got to do that. I need to acquire a clock like this one, a watch, and set it for UK time. It seems like that's the only real difference. Unless you're in India, India's like maybe an hour later. What do you think about immigrants? Happy Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. Meat, lettuce, cheese. Yeah, it's raining tacos. Let me see. Let me think about that answer. You know what? As long as they're legal, as long as they come here with good intentions, I don't have any problem. As long as they come here with good intentions, like to get a job, to raise a family, buy a home, or, assimilate. Keep your individual identity, but also assimilate. That's what we have to do. We have to, as Americans, say you're in Georgia, you can be from Georgia and all that, but you have to assimilate with the rest of the nation. Back. Air, nice seeing you. I am going to back. You're going to back. Like, yeah, there's some conditions. Any country, you go to Mexico, you have to abide by their laws, their cultures, their culture. And it's that's what I think about immigrants. If you want to migrate to a country, respect. That's all I can say. Respect the laws, respect the language, respect the culture. You can share your culture, but don't impose it. People try to impose their culture. They try to impose their language. And what about Indians? They are a lot. There are a lot here. Yeah. I don't know. It's why, you know what? They're protesting Americans going to Mexico. Americans are going to Mexico because the cost of living is so high. But they don't like. Wouldn't that help business if you think about it? If a bunch of Americans want to come and live in Mexico, and wouldn't they contribute to the economy? Wouldn't they like buy houses, get jobs? As long as they don't commit crimes, if you come to a country and commit crimes, you'd wear out your welcome pretty quick. Why would you come to you can commit crimes in your own country. You still get the same result, sometimes even worse. You can. I think that's what it is the anonymity. If you're undocumented, you could just disappear. You can commit a crime, a horrible crime, and then just disappear because nobody knows your address, nobody has your social security number. It's so easy to get away with a crime. And maybe that's why they come here. They can so easily get away with a crime because they're not documented. And say you do work for somebody and they don't pay you. You're just out of them. Somebody got free labor. And that's why I think it's important to be documented, That way you can say, hey, where's my paycheck? And they could go, hey, I took your taxes. Here's what's left of your paycheck. Welcome to America. Yeah. That's what I think. We shouldn't have deported everybody. We should have said, let's make crime illegal again. Let's make crime illegal. If you murder somebody, if you R-word somebody, you can't even say that word anymore. You know what? I think it's because it's psychological. Because Sigmund Freud said, if you name it, you take away its power. Sigmund Freud. Yeah. If you name it, you take away its power. We can't name things, like racism. You can't even say pedophilia. You can't even say that. And I think that's what it is. They don't want you to name it and take away its power. That's why I think they really know the power of words. Like when you hear a song, they remove words from the song that made it so good. The poetry, you're messing with poetry. You're messing with art. Art is powerful, just like magic. It's an art, and you're taking a something magical and you're tampering with it. You're messing with a masterpiece. You're taking off King David's wee wee or something, you know, like in Grecian times. It's art in its entirety. We need to celebrate art in its entirety. Harm no one. Isn't that a pagan saying? Harm no one, harm none. That's a good policy. If you don't harm anyone, think of what would happen if no one harmed anyone. If people just listened to people and found out what harm really is. And what about? Oh, I already said that. Okay. I noticed that it's a culture shock. It's a culture shock. These when people migrate, they're usually in large numbers, and you're used to not seeing the culture. You're used to not seeing um, a specific kind of people, and then all of a sudden they're everywhere. I've noticed that whenever there's a migration, there's a large number of these people who migrated. G'day! Welcome again to Eddie's Funhouse. It's a funhouse of the mind. I've noticed that before people settle in, there's a shock, and then there's adjustments, and then there's acceptance. It's kind of like stages of grief. You see your neighborhood. Your neighborhood isn't the way it used to be. You start smelling different foods. You start seeing different behaviors. You start complaining about these behaviors and these, for example, people from Laos in California, they would have chickens in their yard. It's like, that's not common among the Americans. Americans have to go to the supermarket. They have to go to the farmer's market to get their food. And people from Laos, they like their food fresh. And the Indians, you can smell their food. They have certain rituals, certain prayers. And once I think that's what it is, that culture shock, when suddenly there's a migration from one country to another. It's the shock, and then the adjustments, and then the acceptance. Some of them it's hard to accept. They don't want to put up with, like loud music. That was a thing for a while. People love their cars to bump with their music. You're trying to sleep and someone's driving through your neighborhood, or so yeah, I'm not against it, but you have to expect. What do you expect when there's suddenly a lot of people who you're not used to being around in your neighborhood, living next door to you or upstairs from you? I'm from India. I live upstairs from you. Can't you smell my food? I don't know. Sometimes it is. It takes a little while for them to settle in, to get used to your culture, for you to get used to their. I mean, yeah. There's things you just don't do. Yeah. I don't know. The mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work if it's not open. It's just closed-mindedness. What if you had to go to another country because they were chopping people's heads off? What if you had to go to a country because they stoned your specific religion? They didn't approve of your religion, so you had to leave. You're forced out. And then you go to another country and you're not well received. What about Muslims? You know what? How they behave. People become intolerant to certain behaviors. I hear a lot of stories about their, again, imposing your culture, imposing your religion, imposing your, you know, your beliefs. When you come in, you know, you can't behave like you did in the country you left. You have to behave like you're supposed to in the country you come into. We need Eddie's Funhouse 24. I don't think I could keep that up 24 hours a day. You'd have to film me sleeping, you know, eating. We need you, Eddie. Okay, here I am. I need to shave. I noticed that my beard is not behaving itself. It's taking on a life of its own. My beard. I could write a book called My Beard. You know, here it is when I shave it. Here it is when it's growing back. Here it is when it needs to be groomed. Yeah. Yeah, people lose respect and tolerance for people who have no respect or tolerance. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on these things. Yeah, they're not behaving themselves when they come into a country. I've heard this from Britain. I've heard this from Paris. I've heard this from America. I've heard this from Ireland, you know, Australia even. They just get so, they're up to their, you know, literally, some of them lose their necks. Every Muslim man here has 6 wives, 14 kids. Just imagine. Yeah. Again, their culture is different. Their beliefs are different. But what you can't do is come into another country and expect everyone else to abide by your rules and your beliefs. They're not going to take that too well. There is a YouTuber on here called Haircut Harry, and he takes videos of him shaving and haircuts. Okay, he's got a top. I mean, he's got a niche, I guess. They are increasing in population. For yes, that's a what's the word I'm looking for? A strategy. When you think about it, that's a good strategy. Just flood an area and just if you think about it, you know, it's kind of hard to police everybody when there's so many. It's like, I'm going home. Screw this. Hello, Mason Foster. And then there's Nico. It's good that we can discuss things while we still can. We need to. It's hard. Yeah, I mean, when you have people coming into your neighborhood and they are touching people they shouldn't touch, beating people they shouldn't beat up, you know, taking liberties. People don't like that very much. They lose their tolerance. And then they become violent because they nobody wants hands on them. Nobody wants to be violated. And again, what they should do is have a training, you know, train people before they go into a country. And if they don't comply, well, then they can't come in. If you don't comply, out. Get out. Yeah. Because this is your neighborhood. This is where you live, where you walk to the store, where you do your laundry, you know, and people don't respect you. Yeah, you would kind of run out of patience. It's like people coming into your house. Yeah. AI is getting kind of, it's funny to watch some of these AI videos talking about certain groups of people with no political correctness. That's what we need. We need to not We need to get rid of overt racism. No, covert. I've detected, I've experienced covert racism. Like you invite somebody to come sit with you at your table, and they go, "Oh no, thanks." Their race, their racism, they're polite about it. They're polite. That's the covert racism. They're polite about it. What if your daughter comes to you tomorrow and said, "I'm marrying this Indian guy"? What would you say? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, you can't change your behavior. You have to be consistent. Because sometimes that's what kids do. You're they anybody you don't like, they're going to marry. I noticed this with my niece. You know, if you start expressing how much you don't like a certain group of people, your daughter is going to go marry someone of that certain group. And it's they know it. They know it. They're just mad at you. And here's how they get even with you. They're mad at you. Chris Rock talked about that. Don't hate anybody because guess who's coming to dinner? You know, guess who's gonna marry your daughter? The very group of people that you don't like or that you have some problems with. Your daughter is going to go out and find that person. If she's mad at you, and she probably is, because women are covert. They're covert about their anger. They're not out there. They find covert ways to get you upset. They'll wear certain clothes. They'll listen to certain music. Yeah. Again, it's hard. I've watched this happen. People come in, they don't respect the language, they don't respect the religion, they don't respect the culture. And there's so many of them that the police, that's why they're evoking or martial law, like in DC. I think in Chicago too, they were talking about bringing in the National Guard. You know what? Trump is the first president that has ever activated the National Guard. Like the Rodney King riots. Remember the Rodney King riots? That would have been a good time to bring in the National Guard and get control. There wouldn't have been so much looting. There wouldn't have been so much rioting. People being pulled out of their vehicles and stomped just because they were white. You know, would that be nice? I can't remember who was president during the Rodney King. I think it was Clinton or Bush, George Bush Sr., because it was 92. I think it was 1992. I think it was Bush Sr. No one has ever deployed the National Guard. I don't think that's during the Watts riots, during, complete pandemonium. No one has ever deployed the National Guard to guard our nation and to make our borders secure. There were people in Texas, the people, the militia, the private militia are the ones who guarded the border, not the National Guard. That would have been a good job for the National Guard. Our president has balls. That's what they're calling him, Mr. Balls or something like that. Yeah, Rodney King. But nobody talks about Reginald Denny. Reginald Denny was just a guy. He wasn't there when Rodney King was beaten up. He didn't beat up Rodney King. They pulled Reginald Denny out of his vehicle and smashed him in the head with a brick. He didn't do anything. He was just driving his truck. And that's not justice. That's an innocent man with the wrong color skin getting his head smashed in with a brick. How do you is that getting even? It's getting even against, people you eat. Denny's and IHOP. You like Denny's and IHOP? I do too. I remember Denny's. Denny's is in California. Right after I went to the club, the nightclub, I would go to Denny's because that was the only thing that was open. That should be their slogan. We're open. Come sober up. That's what they should say. Come sober up. Yeah. Is Reginald? I don't know. There are a lot of people who, yeah, they get, but yes. It's just evil. Like Buddha said, hate is stopped by love. Hate is stopped by love. Jesus said, forgive men their trespasses. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. There's not a lot of forgiveness. There's just innocent people being pulled out of their trucks and beaten in the head with a brick or smashed in the head with a brick. This guy just got up. He probably had a wife and kids. He got up, took a shower, got in his truck, had to make a delivery, and just a bunch of people, hateful people, pulled this guy out of his truck and smashed him in the head with a brick. He had nothing to do with Rodney King. He had nothing to do. He wasn't one of the cops who beat him. You can tell I'm upset about this. You can't stop hate. There is too much. Yes. You know what? That's very wise. You can't stop hate because there's too much money in it. Also, I heard this phrase, men go to war because women are watching. Men go to war because women are watching. In the old days, I think medieval times, the term chickened out. They would, the two sides that were going to go to battle, one side brought the chicken, one side brought the grain. And if the chicken didn't eat the grain, they wouldn't fight. You know, war is kind of crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, really. Because we're past the siege times. You know, like if you had a kingdom, they would bring out their siege weapons, their trebuchet, their battering rams. That's how Troy, the city of Troy, yeah, they knew that you had what they want. They came in and they sieged. But countries nowadays, World War I even, the war ended because they ran out of money. And it was something stupid, you know, something stupid like a kettle falling over, some crap like that, you know. People just want to fight. They want to fight. And you know what? They should allow people who don't want to fight to go somewhere else. You know, we're going to have a war. The war is going to begin tomorrow at 9 a.m. If you want to fight, if you want to kill each other, hang around. If you don't, we're going to let you go. You know, set up camp. That's what the Civil War was like. The Civil War. People would they would set up a picnic and watch the North and the South, the Yankees and the Confederates. They watched them fight. They would just set up picnics and watch them fight. You know what? No draft. If you want to have a gun and shoot somebody, and you don't mind being shot at, go ahead. Just keep shooting in that direction, you know. Shoot this way and not this way. And then we could just set up a picnic and watch you jerks, you know, cut each other up and bash each other. You know. Yeah, the meek shall inherit the earth. That's another thing Jesus said. The meek shall inherit the earth. You know what? Because all the violent people will kill each other or cut off their legs and arms and blow up their heads, and then we'll be there to pick up the pieces. Maybe take some jewelry. He's not going to need it anymore. Yeah. Can I have the keys to your car when you're dead? That's what a soldier, well, some soldiers, war is sometimes necessary. When you look at Ireland, when you look at America, it came to gunfire, it came to cannons, so that we could be free and make life miserable for future families, make it to where people can't even live anymore. Hoovervilles, remember Hoovervilles during the Depression? That's what we have now. Yeah, the good old days. Only static style. Oh, I'm not reading this, am I? Is religion a... Oh, I already read that. You can't stop hate. The good old days. Yeah. And racism. Could you imagine racism. Could you imagine if there were no lawyer, if you claimed racism, if there was no lawyer to go get and build a case? There are times when I'm clear. Today, for example, I went to a grocery store. My mother and I pulled up to this person. He was riding one of those carts that my mom rides around, those handicap carts. A guy was riding one of those, drinking a bottle of water. And we said, can we use that cart? And he goes, no, I'm bringing it to somebody else. And then we went to park, and the guy was still riding this cart. I could have clearly, built a case of racism, and it's like but no one believes you. No one believes you. If you're white and you claim racism, they just laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. If you claim somebody who's racist against you, there's nothing you can do about it. And you know what? Because a white person is not going to make any money. So white people just don't say anything when someone is racist towards them. White people don't say anything because they know they're not going to win any money. They're not going to be able to sue. They just have to take it on the chin, as they say. I think I would have a case. I would have the case. This guy, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to tell him what color he was. I'm just going to say, my mother and I drove up to him. He was riding the cart, and we said, we wanted that cart, and he said he was taking it to somebody. We went to park, and he was still riding that cart. He didn't take it to anybody. He was riding that cart, smiling, drinking his bottle of water. And he went back in because I guess his break was over. He didn't make sure my mother had one. I went in and got the cart myself and brought the cart so that she can have one to ride. Yeah. But you know what? White people can't. It does. And if we were to just do that, we could kill racism. We would kill racism if the courts would stop awarding people who are victims of racism. People if they'd stop rewarding people, I bet you racism would be gone because there's no profit in it. There's a lot of profiting. If you're a certain color and you claim racism and everybody goes, oh, really? Everybody backpedals. Everybody becomes over apologetic, and they eat that up. It seems like people eat that up. Anyways, I was thinking to myself, I could have built, if I were the right color, I could have clearly built a case. This guy was just laughing and drinking his bottle of water, riding around the parking lot in this handicap cart. He was fully physically able. He was riding around on that cart in the parking lot, drinking a bottle of water, smiling, laughing. And we went to park. I got out and got a cart to bring to my mom. Yeah. And then another person at this particular, my mother and I were having lunch. She was one of the cashiers. This lady was one of the cashiers. Nice as you could be. And she was looking around and I said, you could sit with us if you like. Oh, no. She picked the table behind me. It's like she didn't want to sit with us. We didn't say, you can't sit with us. We didn't say that. I invited her to come and sit with us because I thought she was a pleasant person. I really thought she was a pleasant person, and I think what it is in the South, there is a unspoken rule, if you're a certain color, you can't sit at a table with another color, which is kind of like in prison. I'm from California. I don't know this, but I kind of detected that because I invited her to sit. And I thought, you know what? That's covert racism. Because you're polite about it. You're a racist, but you're polite about it. And it kind of upset me because it's like, okay, my mother and I was sitting at the table. She was looking around for a place to sit. She was friendly because we'd come through her aisle or her register a few times. We had conversation and thought, come sit with us if you want to. No. She sat right behind me where I couldn't see her, talk to her. Yeah. But you can't claim racism if you're white. You can't. Hi. Let's see. Are living rent-free in our... I noticed that. Isn't it funny? We've got... Again, I need control of my mind. What's on my mind? I should charge rent. I need to charge rent for whoever stays in my mind. I need to perform a proper eviction, file a proper eviction. If they're in my mind for more than an hour. Yeah. Unless I care about them, they can stay rent free. Sure. As long as I don't stay too long. Remember me, I was rocker. Okay. Also, and I switched my display time and I got a new dog and my birthday is in 4 days. Okay. Well, if I happen to be doing a live, I could probably sing happy birthday. I like making people special on their birthday. I'm not the only one that thinks that way about this racism. We need to stop making it profitable. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I love playing happy birthday. Well, it's been 44 minutes. So far, there's one person, possibly. I hope you're enjoying my rants, my boiling over. I'm boiling over that which is within me. And the Donald Trump situation is crazy. I've noticed that. But it's a battle for our minds. The media is a battle for our minds. They want you to pay attention to things that may or may not matter. In a couple of days, we're going to forget all about the things that we're so focused on today. They're helping you create their world. If you want to step out of the matrix, stop helping people create their world. Oh, this kid fell into a well. You know, um, prices of gas have gone through the roof. Chicken is so expensive now. You know, uh, Muslims are marching down the street. And it's like you're helping them create their reality, and you become part of that reality. Have you heard of the Charlie Kirk's death? It was said that he didn't deserve it. It's a matter of opinion. People have strong opinions, apparently. And if you have an opinion, that doesn't mean you kill somebody. I think if somebody is breaking into your house, if somebody is pointing a gun at you when you're trying to run a store, maybe then. But if you disagree with somebody, send a letter. If you disagree with somebody, stay away from them. Stop listening to them. That's what I recommend. Land Taco Tuesday. Yes, it is. Taco Tuesday, I meant. Yeah. These are things I'm passionate about. Civilized. We're no longer civilized. If you disagree with somebody, stop talking to them. Stop engaging them. Look past them. You don't have to go get a rifle, position yourself on the top of a building. That's what they need to have. If somebody of import, they should fly helicopters. That's what they should have had. They should have got a helicopter in the air, or drones. They should have a drone looking at each rooftop. Wouldn't that be a good idea? If you're going to have somebody like Charlie Kirk sitting in a chair, from now on, I say from now on, now that we've learned our lesson twice, we learned once from twice. No, 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times a murder. It's like, first it was Trump's first assassination attempt, second assassination attempt. I'd say with the first one, let's get some drones in the air. Let's watch the rooftops with the first assassination attempt. All the grassy knolls, just have drones watching each rooftop. A drone that can shoot a dart, that's what I'd make. If I was a genius, I would make a drone that can shoot a dart. And if the drone would hover and then shoot a dart at the guy trying to beat in, get him in the crosshairs, I'd say fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you just weren't paying attention. It's like I'd be looking for every rooftop, I'd scan, comb the area with drones or helicopters. And who would have thought in a million years that someone would shoot somebody just because he's a master debater, because he's got a lot of knowledge, information, a lot of truth that people couldn't handle. People couldn't handle the truth. Or, yeah. Who would have thought in a million years that that's how somebody reacts? Good afternoon. Hello. Okay, my friend helped me verify live. I hope I see you on my stream in 24 hours tomorrow. What will happen if I don't? I don't watch other people's streams. People ask me to do live streams. I don't think I have the attention span to watch. I can barely watch a video. We need you. You have guilty eyes. I have guilty eyes. I like you have something to confess. so do it. Guilty eyes like I have something to confess. You know what? It's hard to control me, I think, because I do a lot of that. I look inward. I lose track of other people because I'm always looking inward. Like, and if I do have something, I always look at, what am I doing? If my life isn't the way I think it be, I ask, what am I doing? What do I need to do? It's okay then. You might see something. Good afternoon. It's okay then. We forgive you. You know what? You should do that. You know, if you have that ability, you know, if you like, there's a lot of stuff we give away in our body language, like our eyes, our, you know, how we position ourselves. Do we look defensive? Do we look guilty? And sometimes, you know, like struggling, like I struggle with things. Can that be construed as guilt? I don't think so. I struggle with things, you know, like what my future is going to be like. You know, I struggle with, am I doing everything okay? You know, when people ask me or when people need me for things, am I giving my best? You know, normally I think I overdo it. We forgive. Well, thank you for your forgiveness. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who, you know what? This could be that. This could be a chance to confess, you know, a chance to get things off of our chest, you know. Guilty. You know what? You're triggering my inward look again. You know, I don't think I have anything to be guilty about. My only concern is, am I doing what I need to do? Am I helping those who I need to help? And I think, yes, I am, to the best of my ability. And that's all we can expect. You know, there's only so much you can do. Whoops, there goes another rubber tree plant. You know, you probably would be a good interrogator. Are you an interrogator? Like for the police or a profiler? Profilers are good at stuff like that. You know, they can, without even seeing a person, they know what age they are. They know their behaviors. They know their habits. You know, I always like watching shows like that. You know, like people who interrogate. They bring a guy in, they sit him down. They say, where were you last night? There were cameras there, you know. There's so many ways you could get somebody to confess. In the old days, they used torture. There was, what was that called? The Inquisition. They would just show you the tools that they were going to use. And then you sign a paper saying that you were in league with the devil, you know. But those are, you know what, nothing really changes. If you look at life, if you look at governments, we'd like to think we're improving, but we're really not. As long as we can go to sleep at night, as long as we can feel safe walking to our car in a parking garage, you know, pulling into our garage, somebody sneaking up under there. Yeah. I must be interesting. I hope I'm interesting at least. I can only retain 2 people, 2 to 4 people. I'm losing people. I've noticed that people I'll get, please do a live. Please do a live. We haven't seen you in a long time. And when I do a live, nobody's there. Reminds me of Rodney Dangerfield, you know. She said, come over. Nobody was home. I came over. Nobody was home. I get no respect. Rodney Dangerfield. Remember him? So there's 3 people watching. I've got something. So you say I have something to confess, that I need to say it, I think to know yourself, and you will know the universe. And also Sun Tzu said, know yourself, know your enemy, and you'll win 1,000 battles, something like that. He also cut people's heads off to get their attention. The Art of War. And then there's Machiavelli. A lot of people who are in Cosa Nostra, they're told to read Machiavelli. People refer a lot to Machiavelli. That's very Machiavellian, I like looking out the window. It lowers my stress. Well, the glitch doesn't have to monitor me anymore. They for some reason said that I needed to be monitored. So I guess I've changed my ways, they said. I've changed my ways, whatever those were. Yeah. You know what? If you tell the truth, you never have to worry what you said. You never have to remember what you said. If you tell the truth all the time. People look for nervousness. If people are trying to hide something, look, because people get nervous when you're coming close, to discovering what they really did, or they quit having their facade, their persona. They quit having their, they just go, okay, I'm caught. Yeah. Is this Eddie's Funhouse? It's a fun house of the mind. Well, it is Tuesday. I can't expect much. People want to come home from work. They want to rest. That brings questions. Why didn't they deploy the National Guard when people were looting, when people were rioting? They didn't want to restore order. They just let it happen. The cops couldn't do anything because the population, cops versus population. That's why I think they need to empower the people more, because a lot of times the cops aren't there. The cops can't get there in time to stop a crime, to thwart an assailant. And I think they wouldn't be assailing if they knew they were going to get shot. If they knew somebody was going to pull out a machete and take care of business. Why are they so afraid of taking it onto their own hands? For example, a guy who caught somebody violating his son. A guy caught a guy violating his son, and he beat the crap out of him. What's wrong with that? If that's what taking the law into your own hands is. Hey, Om. Hello. How are you? Om. That's right. Welcome, James and Shoba. We got some people finally. I guess if I wait long enough, I'll have people. Yeah. I'm breathing through my mouth today. Karara Bundier, I breathe through my mouth today. You get more air when you do that. Don't poo-poo the mouth breathers. Or you get cleaner air when you breathe in through your nose. I like that. I feel better. Yes. Shoba. That's right. We need to stop focusing on the problem I think that's what the media does. The media gets you to focus on the problem, focus on what's wrong, and then you begin creating what's wrong. You begin creating agreeing that there is a problem, and there's nothing you could do about it. Isn't that funny how they do that? Play again, please. Play again. What, this? People say there's a healing power. Yes. Deploy the National Guard whenever there is a riot, because that's terrorism. If you really look at it, it's terrorism. Whenever a group of people don't agree with something and they shoot, they loot, they riot, that's terrorism. You need to bring terrorism under control and then find out why they're mad in the first place. Why are they mad in the first place? Hello, everyone. Love it. See, I read them. Some people are surprised that I read them. I've noticed that people they'll do a live and they will just ignore. They'll do their live like it's a video, and they'll ignore all the writings, the texts. All right. This is me, everyone. This is me. Ain't gonna let nobody hold me down. I like that song. I cry a little bit when I hear it. This is me. Who was that guy? Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is a singer too. He's done opera. Not opera, but shows. He's done some shows. He's not just the Wolverine, you know. He's an Aussie. Yeah. Yeah, but you didn't know that. He does such a convincing American accent. Who else was Aussie? Who was that? Nicole Kidman. She's an Aussie. Yeah. I'm going through my list of Aussies. I'd like to hear more of the mouth instrument. Okay. Shut up and play your instrument, you dancing monkey. Maybe I'll open a porthole. Shut up and play your instrument, you dancing monkey. How's that so far? It's called a grumble. I've heard it called a grumble. I've heard it called a Jew's harp, a jaw harp. I've heard it called a doing doing or boing boing. It's been 1 hour. 7 likes. I had some people yesterday. It was Scrooge McDuck, Call Me Collard, somebody else. The End, I think, was here yesterday. My only friend, the End. Grumble, that's right. Grumble. I forget which culture calls it the grumble. I think it's Irish, Celtic, or maybe Nordic. I forget. Thank you for joining me. You're welcome. Well, look at that. You're polite. We entertain angels unaware. That's what the Bible says. Be sure to entertain angels. Be sure to entertain strangers. Yeah. And be pure in heart. I think you really should know your heart. You shouldn't have any ulterior motives. I am from parts unknown. I'm like the ultimate warrior. I'm from parts unknown. No, California was where I was born, back when it was a good state. California, California dreaming. Yeah. So I'm born and raised America. America. You're from Scotland. Oh, wow. I'm Scottish. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. Scotland. There's somebody else who was Scottish that came here. I think she was Charlotte. No, Charlotte, I think, was in Belfast or someplace. There was a lot of people. Yeah, I get from that area. Welcome. I'm also Nordic. I guess I have Viking blood. It's amazing what they can do with your spittle. All they do some spittle, and they can trace where you're from. Ireland, yeah. Is Scotland where that dog bridge? There was a bridge that dogs jump off of. The Grim Life Collective went there one time, and there's been a lot of stories about that bridge. I would love to go there to see the castles. Isn't there are a lot of castles in Scotland? I like the terrain, like Ireland, the grassy hills, the clouds, all the sheep out there. Ah, you're just Scottish. Well, that's good enough. Not a lot of people play this. How are things in Scotland? The UK is having a bit of unrest, or they were a couple of weeks ago, the beginning of this year. Are you a religious man? No. I am I think faith, there's much to be learned about faith and belief. Hey, should bro love this sound? They should bro love this sound. Wait, I grew up religious, go to church on Sunday and make sure I confess all my sins, But now I just believe that we're still learning. You can't claim you just know God and you know so many people. I think we're still learning. I believe in love and forgiveness and kindness. And I believe in the truth. That's what I'm more interested in is the truth, because you always discover something else. Like I keep hearing that we're dead already. I keep hearing that when in videos that I watch, you're dead already. You just don't know it. Yeah. And you know what? The judicial system is set up like that. I've heard that. We're not considered alive until we come into a courtroom. That's why our name is in capital letters. It's interesting. You know what? It's got my interest. Religion pushes people out and draws some people in. But then religion forces you to lie, forces you to be someone you're not. Because behind closed doors, that's who you really are. I believe when you're dreaming, that's who you really are. When you're having a dream, that's who you really are. Because you're not having to be what other people want you to be. You're not having to be what people expect you to be. I see that in church sometimes. You know, people are on their best behavior, you know, until they go off somewhere. When they go away from the flock, you know. And it's all about you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. What you're doing is wrong. God says you can't do that, you know. But we have to kill to eat sometimes. We have to push someone aside sometimes. We have to tell someone they're stupid sometimes, you know. I think that's what it is don't take it too far. Oh, somebody left. There's 0 now. I think I've talked myself out of a conversation. Yeah. Okay, maybe people come back if I start playing this. Maybe I'll win it back. Maybe you went to the bathroom. How does it detect that you're watching? I think if people stop texting, it removes them. It'll remove them from the live. They're still there. They're just not texting. So that'd be interesting to know. How do they detect that someone's there watching your live? I guess that's what, yeah, if somebody is watching it, then it'll detect. Do you renounce Satan and all of his works? I guess to be Catholic, they ask you that. Do you renounce Satan and all of his works? Yes, I do. I'll sit here until somebody says something. I'm like that. What's that? That guy in the booth with the turban, that robot. You put the money in and he tells your future. Until then, he just sits still. He sits still in that booth with his turban and a feather. And then somebody puts money in. Maybe I should try that. I should try divination. You know, you donate an amount to my channel and I'll do some divination. People think I'm 13, but I'm 11. Okay, that's dangerous. that's what, yeah. They think you're 13, but you're 11. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like life is moving forward too fast? Yeah, you gotta watch people like that. People say, "Hey, you look 13." That's what I should do. Sit here quietly, and then somebody donates, and then I tell them their future. Oh, you speak with emojis. Like this. I'm about to eat my last peach ring. Might eat my last peach ring. Here it goes. I need to go get some liquid. I've been monitoring my liquid. I put myself on a fluid restriction. Do you go to church? A lot of people are asking that. And the answer is yes, I go to church. Not every single Sunday, but I think it's healthy sometimes. Because you might need someone and someone might need you. When are we going to meet your brother? When he's available. He was here, but we had to go places. We'll have to do that. We'll have to sit up outside. I could go out, do an outside show. And then we can sit and eat some popcorn or something. Or get one of those, I like those party mix. I forgot about the party mix. Party mix. I could have had party mix today. But I got taquitos. I got some taquitos. Taquito! Have you seen Tim and Eric's $1 Million Movie or $1 Billion Movie? That's a good watch. If you're an adult. Tim and Eric's $1 Billion Movie. Zach Galifianakis and who was that guy? John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell, and a lot of others. You might recognize some of the people. My dad is a preacher. Okay. We have you, Eddie Colbert. We have you. We have you. What's it like having a dad who is a preacher? Some people don't mind it. There's a lot of faking in religion. In religion, there's a lot of faking. There's a lot of feeling like you don't measure up. I felt like that when I was a youngster. We love you, Eddie. My dad disowned me. Well, don't focus on it. Don't pretend it didn't happen, but don't focus on it. Don't base your worth on what other people do. That's the only advice that I can, that I'm sure will help you. Don't base your worth on other people's opinion of you. Because a lot of times people are trying to control you. They're trying to control you. Or they are, yes, they're trying to control you. And they won't give up until you give in. They won't give up until you give in. So yeah. Base your truths on what you know about yourself. Again, know thyself, know yourself. To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true, know yourself, and you'll discover the universe. You'll know the universe. It's that correspondence. You like it. Gabby, hello. Welcome to Eddie's Funhouse, where I wear a red shirt and I speak my feelings. People don't hang around very long, but I speak my feelings. I think I'm doing pretty good with my fluid restrictions. Maybe I should start drinking bottles of water. Have a bottle of water. Well, I'm here. That should be my slogan. I'm here. While everyone comes and goes. Just to say hi. I can understand. I couldn't watch an entire live unless it was interesting. Well, I appreciate those people who at least give my show a try. You should dare people to watch Eddie's Funhouse. I dare you to watch Eddie's Funhouse. People usually do things on a dare. My dad likes red. All right. Well, cool. Thank you. Chinese culture looks at red as a lucky color, a good fortune color. Yeah. I think they think eight, they say eight is a good number. I watched a disturbing movie today. We love you, Eddie. Thank you. It was called Sleepaway Camp. If you're not an adult, it looked like it was made for teenagers. Sleepaway Camp. It was made in the 70s. Can't wait to meet you. Let's not be morbid. Oh, what do you call that? Slouching? I should have a belt. I should have belts to hold me up because I slouch too much. I can feel it in my lungs because my body just does like an accordion in my lungs. I can feel my lungs are a little sore because I just slouch. Oh, I have a crown. I used to have a purple crown. Used to. I wish I could have taken all my stuff with me. How to Train Your Dragon. That's right. Do you read the Torah? Do I read the Torah? I have heard of the Torah. I think it was written by Moshe. The Hebrews, Moshe. We call him Moses. And it's interesting because there's a lot of books missing from there's the Torah and then there's the actual Bible, I think. The actual Bible has a lot of books that people haven't read. Yo, that's cool. Hey, Colby Collard, how you doing? Where did you get the hat? Oh, it was Burger King. I went to Burger King. And they happened to have these hats. See, this is my dragon horns. That's right. King. I have a kingly face, don't I? Where did you get that hat? Yep. Gabby. Awesome. I thought, you know what? Why not take it home? Why not? Sometimes I'm just missing a crown. That's all I'm missing. Like the emperor has no clothes. And just, yeah, sometimes I look at myself, what am I missing? Oh, a crown. Yeah. Well, welcome back, Colby Collard. Welcome back, Gabby. Welcome back, Mike D. It looks like you finally discovered an identity. You now, your identity is Mike D. Welcome to Eddie's Funhouse. What time is it over there across the pond? I bet you it's like 10 or 11 o'clock. You've got two people. I'm wearing this. Yes. Sometimes I'm just missing a crown. The crown. Not just anybody gets to wear the crown. You can actually do sins against the crown. Kings can be scary, can't they? A king. If a king likes you, maybe that's a good thing. And then as long as you don't have to eat humbles, you don't have to eat the humbles if the king likes you. Yep. Humble pie. I like my hawk feather. I love it. I found a hawk feather and I kept it. Maybe I've earned it in some culture. Some culture out there. Spirit said, he deserves a hawk feather. The Creator. I like, a lot of people refer to the Creator. I think the Navajo talk about the creator, the Lakota. Altoids. Curiously cool. This is a curiously cool mint. I'm glad I was sitting down right now. I'm feeling dizzy. I feel dizzy from time to time. I guess it's all part of my heart condition. Did my text stop? Sometimes my text just stops. Let me know if just say I'm here or just put it hi or something. Because I have to start a whole new live if that's the case. I think that's what happened. People are leaving. That might be what happened. They can't text anymore. This is my new phone too. Text me. I mean, leave a comment. Usually you could leave a comment and I'll get it if the text stops. Hey, your text stopped. I think that's what happened. Well, I guess I can get on with the rest of my life. I'm feeling kind of hungry. Yeah, that sucks. I really hate that when that happens. Look at all these people who were able to text, and all of a sudden, boop. I'm going to experiment here. I'm going to experiment. It's really freaking, I really hate that.